You are not lost. You're dormant. Everything you've begged the world to give you is already burning quietly inside, waiting for ignition. This audiobook isn't motivation. It's resurrection. It will rip the sleep from your spirit, crush your excuses, and remind you what power feels like. If you've ever felt meant for more, but couldn't explain why this is your awakening. If this message already speaks to you like the video, it helps YouTube recognize what truly matters to your mind. Subscribe so you don't miss the next layer of this journey. And stay until the end. The final moments always carry the quietest power. Introduction. Listen, the gap between where you stand and where you long to be is not a wall. It is unclaimed space that yields the moment you move. You keep waiting for the perfect plan, the ideal tools, the right moment, but the most dangerous delay is the belief that readiness must arrive before you begin. Begin now. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. This is not a consolation prize. This is the launch sequence. The first small act is ignition, humble, imperfect, undeniable. In physics, a body in motion tends to stay in motion. In life, a person in motion turns potential into probability. Momentum is not granted. It is generated by your willingness to act with what is already in your hands. You think scarcity is the curse. It is the catalyst. The cracked phone, the uneven schedule, the trembling voice, these are not disqualifications. They are raw materials. Constraints concentrate creativity, the way pressure turns carbon into diamond. The universe does not reward the fantasy of perfect conditions. It amplifies a clear signal. Your intent is that signal. When you direct your attention, you tune your mind to a frequency. What you repeatedly attend to becomes the structure of your days, and then the architecture of your life. Neuroscience names it neuroplasticity. Pathways strengthen where electricity regularly flows. Spirit names it alignment. Energy coheres where devotion returns each day. Call it what you will. The law is the same. Focus begets form. You fear that action without certainty wastes time. The opposite is true. Action is how clarity is born. You cannot steer a parked vehicle. You guide your course by moving, adjusting, refining. Your present skills, your current context, even your perceived limitations are clay on the wheel. Shape them. One email, one page, one repetition each completes a circuit that was unfinished yesterday. As the circuits close, confidence rises not as a mood, but as evidence. You do not find confidence and then act. You act and earn confidence. This path demands resolve. You will want to postpone. You will want to gather one more resource, purchase one more tool, ask for one more sign. Understand preparation has a threshold beyond which it becomes a sophisticated form of hiding. The mind tells stories to protect you from embarrassment. The soul requests movement to protect you from regret. Choose the soul. The first minutes will feel awkward. Good. Awkwardness is proof that you are crossing from theory to embodiment. Energy reorganizes under pressure. Identity upgrades under effort. Consider this: every decisive act slightly bends probability in your favor. The quantum field offers many futures. Observation plus initiative collapses them toward one. When you choose, you reduce noise. When you repeat, you stabilize signal. Rituals turn courage into a habit. 5 focused minutes before dawn, a written priority list that fits on a single line, a promise kept to yourself when no one is watching. These are not small, they are levers. Pull them daily, and the world slowly at first, and then unmistakably yields. You will be tempted to compare your beginning to another's middle. Resist. Greatness rarely announces itself. It accretes like sediment grain on grain until a new landscape appears. Persist to the final chapter of this journey, and you will receive a key, not a trinket, a practical method to lock in the transformation you start today. But even that will mean little without the one element only you can supply: commitment. So listen again this time, as if your future could hear you. You are not empty. You are unarranged. You are not late. You are unlaunched. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. Let the first imperfect step murder the myth of someday. Let the second step prove the first was no accident. Feel the shift from stillness to motion, from wish to will, from scattered potential to gathered power. Your future built from your present starts now. Chapter 1. The Law of Beginning. Start with what you have. That is not motivational fluff. It is a universal principle, an energetic law disguised as a simple sentence. Every empire began as a gesture, a hand, reaching forward, trembling, perhaps, but moving. The paradox of greatness is that it does not emerge from abundance. It emerges from lack. Scarcity forces innovation. Limitations sharpen instinct. The absence of resources awakens the presence of resourcefulness. You stand amid the raw materials of your next life, though you may not yet recognize them. The mess, the chaos, the unfinished attempts. This is not failure, it is formation. Every master once stood in a similar fog building, with fragments improvising tools from whatever lay near. The mind obsessed with perfection calls this chaos unbearable, but the universe calls it potential. Entropy, the scientific tendency of systems to decay, can also be reversed through intent. Your focused effort reorganizes disorder into structure the same way gravity gathers dust into planets. Theodore Roosevelt's words echo through time. Do what you can with what you've got where you are. They are not mere encouragement. They are commandment. You believe you need more time, more confidence, more permission. You don't. You need less hesitation, less fear of imperfection, less reverence for the myth of readiness. The perfect condition is a mirage designed to seduce you into paralysis. You will never feel ready. The body waits for certainty. The spirit grows only through uncertainty. Understand this truth. Motion itself is intelligence. Physics names it inertia. A body at rest stays at rest. A body in motion stays in motion. Life mirrors this law precisely. The stagnant self decays in comfort. The moving self attracts energy. The moment you take even a small action, a note, a message, a sketch, a workout, your frequency rises. You become visible to opportunity because you are broadcasting change. The universe is not ignoring you. It is waiting for a signal strong enough to answer. Scarcity is not punishment. It is precision training. The artist who paints with 5 colors learns mastery faster than the one lost in 50. The entrepreneur with no capital learns persuasion, adaptation, and courage. Every constraint presses you toward creativity, and creativity is divine intelligence in motion. You think you are stuck. Good. Stuck is where the muscles of willpower form. You think you lack skill. Perfect. Skill grows through necessity. The human brain rewires faster under challenge than comfort. Every discomfort sends an electrical storm across your neurons, carving new paths for competence to travel. Neuroscience calls it adaptive plasticity. Spirit calls it becoming. You fear to begin because you imagine you must leap. You don't. The leap comes later. The beginning is a single push, a quiet defiance of gravity. 5 minutes of focused work. 1 honest phone call. 1 imperfect prototype. These gestures repeated build kinetic faith, the kind of faith not rooted in hope, but in evidence. Each small completion multiplies belief, and belief is the current that powers persistence. Do not wait for permission. No sign will come. You are the sign. The whisper in your chest, the ache to move, the restlessness that is not anxiety. It is the soul's alarm clock. It rings for those ready to wake from the trance of waiting. Action is the purest prayer. It tells the universe, I am ready to be reshaped. And the universe, governed by the same impartial laws that bend light and birth stars, responds not to words, but to momentum. Start ugly, start uncertain, start broke, start with fear shaking your hands. Because once you begin, fear transforms into friction, and friction is what allows you to climb. Every stumble polishes you. Every obstacle hardens you. Every rejection teaches the anatomy of resilience. You will be tempted to romanticize struggle or curse it. Do neither. Respect it. Struggle is the sculptor's chisel. It chips away what you never were to reveal what you've always been. This chapter is your ignition. You are not here to plan your way to perfection. You are here to build momentum out of imperfection. The law of beginning is merciless but generous. It demands initiation, but it multiplies all who dare. Take the first step now. Before the doubt returns, before logic argues, before fear rewrites the plan. The smallest step is the most powerful, because it creates history where there was none. You think you are waiting for a miracle. You are the miracle waiting to move. Start with what you have. Do what you can. Right here, right now. Chapter 2. The Myth of Readiness. You think you must be ready first, emotionally, financially, mentally, before you begin. But readiness is the most sophisticated illusion the mind ever invented. It feels responsible, wise, even mature, yet its only function is to keep you from motion. The world's most paralyzing phrase isn't, I can't, it's not yet. You whisper it to soothe your fear, but every time you do, you trade your future for comfort. Here's the truth. No one is ready. The writer, the founder, the parent, the leader, all began with trembling hands. The difference between them and those who wait is not courage alone. It is obedience to motion. They moved despite shaking. They acted while uncertain. The universe rewards that defiance, the audacity to walk through fog. Readiness is not a destination. It is a byproduct of movement. The very thing you crave, confidence, clarity, alignment, arises from doing, not from waiting. Neuroscience calls this the action-confidence loop. When you act, your brain releases dopamine, the chemical of reward, which strengthens the neural pathways that encourage more action. Waiting starves that circuit. Action feeds it. The Stoics said courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision that something else matters more. They understood the law long before psychology named it. Motion transforms emotion. Every step you take rewires your chemistry, shifts your energy field, and quiets the noise of doubt. You cannot think your way into bravery. You must walk into it. Think of readiness as light in a tunnel. It does not appear before you move. It appears because you move. Quantum physics confirms this. The observer collapses the wave into form. Reality organizes around choice. The path is not visible until you walk it. What you call uncertainty is simply unobserved potential, waiting for your commitment to bring it into view. Stop waiting for the green light. There isn't one. The world will never pause its chaos long enough for your comfort. The economy won't settle your schedule, won't clear the fear, won't vanish. Readiness is not an external condition. It's an internal permission slip signed by your will. Consider the myth's victims, the dreamers who collect courses, stack notebooks of ideas, and wait for after. After they save more, after they feel confident, after the stars align. They die surrounded by unspent potential, convinced the delay was prudence. It wasn't. It was fear in costume. You may think, but what if I fail good? Failure is the tuition for mastery. Without it, you remain a theorist. Failure is friction. It polishes rough intent into clarity. It shows you what doesn't work, so you can focus on what does. Every setback is feedback, and feedback is evolution. The only true failure is silence. You may think, but what if I'm judged? You will be. Judgment is the proof you are visible. Anonymous people are never criticized. Let them talk. While they watch, you'll be gathering data, sharpening skill-building endurance. The noise fades. The work remains. The brain will lie to you. It will whisper that you need more knowledge, more guarantees, more time. But the brain is built to protect, not to propel. It values safety over success. To override it, you must act before you believe. Each act teaches the brain that motion is survivable, that risk is not death. Soon the circuitry of hesitation burns away, replaced by the circuitry of initiative. In the spiritual dimension, readiness is vibration. When you wait, your energy stagnates. When you act, it accelerates. Every decisive movement raises your frequency, signaling to the universe that you are a participant, not an observer. The laws of energy respond. Similar vibrations attract momentum compounds. Opportunity arranges itself around the pulse of your intention. The myth of readiness dies the instant you confront it. Once you act, the fog thins, and behind it, you'll find not certainty, but momentum, the only force you ever truly needed. So, stop rehearsing your bravery. Live it. Write the email. Build the draft. Take the call. Risk the discomfort. Every imperfect action is a declaration that you choose growth over safety creation, over hesitation, evolution over illusion. You do not need to be great to start. You need to start to become great. This is the law. The path is made by walking, not by waiting. Chapter 3. The Tyranny of Someday. Someday. It sounds gentle, even wise, a word wrapped in patience and self-care. But beneath it lies rot. Someday is the softest coffin ever built, lined with comfort and sealed with excuses. Every time you whisper, "not today," you bury a fraction of your future alive. You think you're buying time, but you're selling it. Time doesn't pause to accommodate your fears. It flows, impartial, relentless. Every second you spend rehearsing your beginning is a second stolen from your evolution. The myth of someday is humanity's favorite anesthesia. It dulls the ache of unfulfilled purpose, just enough to survive without changing. But purpose does not die quietly. It haunts. If this idea lands, that's your sign hit. So the algorithm knows you prefer thought over noise. Look around you, the unfinished projects, the untouched dreams, the journals half written. They are not ornaments of ambition. They are ghosts of choices postponed. Procrastination is not laziness. It is fear, disguised as logic. It convinces you that waiting for better timing is responsible, when in truth, it's spiritual corrosion. The Stoics called this wasting life, to delay what the present already allows. The best time to begin was yesterday. The second best is now. That ancient proverb is not poetic, it is mathematical. Momentum compounds. Every day delayed doubles the energy required to restart. Like muscles, unused potential atrophies. Neural pathways weaken. The more you wait, the heavier beginning feels, until it becomes unbearable. You call it destiny, but it's entropy, the law that everything unused decays. Someday tells you to wait for clarity, but clarity is earned through movement. Action is the telescope that sharpens the stars. You cannot calculate your way to direction. You must walk until the fog organizes into pattern. The mind that plans forever but never acts becomes a museum of abandoned blueprints. Understand the physics of procrastination. It steals kinetic energy and converts it into anxiety. You feel tired, not because you've done too much, but because you've done too little of what matters. The human spirit was not built for stagnation. When you deny movement, your own energy turns against you. That restlessness you call burnout is just trapped potential begging to be used. You are not lazy. You are misaligned. The energy meant for creation is suffocating in containment. Let it move. Even 10 minutes of honest effort will shift the atmosphere of your life more than 10 hours of anxious waiting. Someday pretends to protect you from failure. But what it really protects you from is transformation. The person you're meant to become exists only on the other side of action. Waiting keeps you loyal to your current identity, even when it's suffocating you. The discomfort of progress is sharp but temporary. The comfort of delay is soothing but terminal. Look ahead. Picture yourself at 90 frail, quiet, surrounded not by what you did, but by what you didn't. That weight in your chest is not nostalgia. It's recognition. Regret is simply the echo of all the somedays you believed in. So burn the word, delete it, replace someday with now. Announce your deadline. Say it out loud. Pressure is a sacred fire. It burns away indecision. Deadlines terrify you because they expose truth, whether you will or you won't. Set one anyway. Let urgency baptize you into action. The cosmic law mirrors this. The universe responds only to active energy. Potential is infinite, but manifestation requires motion. Intention without execution is static electricity. It flickers, shocks, and dies. Movement turns static into current. You don't need more time. You need more courage. Because courage collapses time. 10 minutes of raw action can redeem 10 years of waiting. Don't mistake stillness for peace. Most stillness is avoidance. Peace comes from momentum, from knowing you are no longer betraying your own potential. Every delay compounds regret. Every action compounds strength. You cannot outweight destiny. You can only outwork hesitation. The tyranny of someday ends not with a grand gesture, but a single defiant act. Send the email. Make the call. Record the first line. Take the breath that begins a different timeline. There is no right moment. There is only now, trembling, imperfect, unstoppable. Kill someday. Replace it with today. Replace hesitation with heat. Because the moment you do, the universe stops waiting and starts rearranging itself around your movement. Chapter 4. Kill your excuses. Excuses are elegant lies, stories polished to sound reasonable enough to protect you from the discomfort of responsibility. But every excuse you craft is a chain, and every chain steals one more inch of your freedom. You think they explain your inaction. They actually explain your imprisonment. You blame your job, your upbringing, your fatigue, your luck. But strip those away, and what remains is the same culprit staring back at you in the mirror. The truth is brutal, but liberating. You are both the problem and the solution. Until you accept that you will keep mistaking self-pity for self-awareness. Excuses disguise themselves as logic. I'm not ready. I don't have enough time. The economy is bad. They sound intelligent. But behind their vocabulary is fear. Fear of embarrassment, fear of rejection, fear of confronting your own power. The mind would rather stay certain in misery than risk uncertainty in potential. Accountability is a spiritual blade. It cuts through illusion and demands ownership of energy. Every thought, every action, every reaction carries your signature. Quantum physics calls it observer effect. The act of observing influences the outcome. Translation: the moment you acknowledge your role, reality starts to bend. Excuses lower your vibration. They are static that interferes with your frequency. When you complain, you tune yourself to lack. When you take ownership, you tune yourself to creation. The universe is neutral. It doesn't punish you for excuses. It simply mirrors them. Whatever you project, it returns amplified. Successful people are not immune to limitation. They are immune to justification. They feel fear, scarcity, and chaos, but they refuse to outsource blame. They know pain is information, not injustice. Each failure is data. Each obstacle feedback. They treat accountability as alchemy, turning mistakes into momentum. You are not unlucky. You are unfocused. You are not stuck. You are stationary. The moment you stop defending your circumstances, the laws of motion apply again. Momentum returns, not as motivation, but as inertia movement feeding more movement. Look at your excuses and call them by their real names. Laziness labeled as fatigue, distraction. Dressed as research, perfectionism. Disguised as professionalism. The cure for all three is movement. You cannot outthink inertia. You can only outact it. Discipline is not punishment. It is power harnessed. Every time you do what you said you would do, you increase coherence between thought and action, intention and execution. That coherence is magnetic. It aligns you with flow. The more consistent your integrity, the more predictable your results. You say you don't have time. Yet time expands for priorities and collapses for excuses. You say you don't have resources. Yet resourcefulness is born only when resources vanish. You say you can't focus. Yet focus is not a gift. It's the residue of commitment. Every claim of limitation dissolves under the heat of ownership. Cut ruthlessly. Audit your life. Remove one excuse a day. Write it, name it, burn it if you must. Each one you destroy returns a portion of your will. Discipline is not built overnight. It is reclaimed, piece by piece, from the debris of your old reasoning. And understand this: the world owes you nothing. That truth will either offend you or free you. If it offends you, you will continue bargaining with life for fairness. If it frees you, you will stop waiting and start building. The moment you accept that no one is coming, you meet your true power, self-command. Excuses are parasites. Feed them, and they multiply. Starve them with action, and they die. Don't negotiate with them. Don't soothe them. Kill them. Because excuses are not harmless. They are the slow corrosion of your potential, the quiet assassins of purpose. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are the architect of response. The universe bends toward accountability. When you stop pointing outward, everything inward reawakens focus, strength, clarity, momentum. The air around you changes. The mind steadies. The spirit rises. From this moment on, whenever you hear yourself say, but replace it with how. Not "I want to start a business, but I don't know how," ask instead, "How can I start with what I know?" Not "I want to change, but I'm scared." Ask, "How can I use fear as energy?" Questions birth solutions. Excuses birth stagnation. So let this chapter end with a vow. No more justification. No more surrender. No more white flags disguised as logic. You are the cause, therefore, you are the cure. The day you kill your excuses is the day you resurrect your power. Chapter 5. Betray your comfort zone. Comfort is seductive because it whispers safety. It says, "Stay here, you've earned it." It promises rest, but delivers decay. Comfort is the slow death that looks like peace, a soft trap padded with predictability. Every great life ends the moment it begins worshiping comfort. You were not designed to be cozy. You were designed to evolve. The human nervous system thrives on challenge. It adapts through stress, not shelter. Without friction, muscles weaken. Without resistance, the mind dulls. In nature, stagnation equals death. A shark that stops swimming suffocates. A tree that stops growing rots. And you, when you stop stretching, start shrinking. To grow is to betray what is comfortable. You must be willing to abandon the version of yourself that clings to ease. This betrayal is sacred. It is the price of evolution. Every hero's journey begins with this defiance, the decision to step beyond what feels safe, knowing safety was never the goal, only the beginning. Fear will rise the moment you step out. That is not danger. That is the sound of expansion. Biologically, fear and excitement trigger the same surge of adrenaline. The difference is interpretation. The body prepares you to act. The mind labels it threat. Rewire the label, and fear becomes fuel. This is how warriors transform trembling into readiness, how artists turn uncertainty into creation. Spiritually, fear is a compass. It points to where your growth hides. When your stomach tightens, when your breath shortens, that's not a warning to retreat. That's a signal that the edge is near, and the edge is where identity dissolves and new potential forms. The soul grows by friction, by dancing with what scares it, until fear becomes familiarity. Your comfort zone is not a sanctuary. It's a cage with invisible bars made of routine. You've decorated it with distractions, the shows you binge, the excuses you justify, the self-care that's really avoidance. But look closer. Every bar was built from a decision to stay the same. Every habit of comfort is an act of quiet betrayal against the future you. True comfort is not the absence of challenge. It is the confidence that you can handle challenge. Real peace comes not from safety, but from self-trust. The knowing that no matter what chaos arises, you can adapt. Adaptability is your birthright. The mind was built to evolve, to rewire in response to difficulty. Neuroscience calls it neuroplasticity. The ancients called it rebirth. Risk, then, is reverence for your potential. To risk is to say, I believe there is more to me than I have yet met. Each risk is an offering to that belief. The failures that follow are not punishments. They are proofs of participation. Failure means you entered the arena. The comfort zone builds spectators. Risk builds creators. Betray comfort deliberately. Speak when silence feels safer. Begin the project you fear will fail. Move toward the conversation you're avoiding. Every small betrayal of comfort strengthens the muscle of courage. Courage, like any muscle, grows only through strain. The world outside your comfort zone is not empty. It's rich with the raw materials of transformation. The lessons you crave live in uncertainty. The allies you need wait in unfamiliar rooms. The creativity you seek blooms in pressure. Life expands for those who dare to step beyond their own limits. But understand, betrayal is painful. It means killing habits that feel like home, leaving circles that celebrate your stagnation, confronting parts of yourself you've ignored. You will feel exposed. That's good. Exposure is how truth breathes. You cannot grow in armor. You must shed it to stretch. When fear rises, don't shrink back, stand closer. Let it burn through the lies you tell yourself about what you can't handle. That burn is purification. Each time you cross a boundary of comfort, you reclaim a fragment of your power. So betray the easy path. Walk willingly into discomfort until it becomes your teacher. Because the zone you avoid is the life you desire disguised as danger. Comfort has betrayed you long enough. It promised you safety and gave you sameness. Now it's your turn to betray it, to trade predictability for purpose, numbness for vitality, safety for sovereignty. Step beyond the edge. Let the unknown rearrange you, because nothing extraordinary ever blooms in comfort soil. Chapter 6. Ruthlessly eliminate weakness. Weakness is not who you are. It is what you tolerate. Every time you excuse your laziness, delay your decision, or soften your standard, weakness multiplies quietly, invisible at first, until one day it governs you. Strength is not a gift. It is a discipline. Power is not inherited. It is trained. To transform, you must treat weakness not as an identity, but as an intruder. Start with brutal honesty. Look at yourself without filters. Name the habits that drain your energy, the distractions that devour your focus, the thoughts that talk you out of action. Laziness, procrastination, comparison, doubt. They are not harmless moods. They are parasites, and parasites survive only when you feed them attention. The first law of transformation is awareness. You cannot change what you refuse to confront. Weakness thrives in denial. The moment you drag it into light, it begins to starve. Write it down. Audit your days. Where do you waste time, surrender energy, or betray your promises to yourself? Write everything that weakens your edge. Then confront each item like a soldier facing an enemy. Your mind will resist this honesty. It will rationalize, I need rest. I'll do it tomorrow. I'm just not ready. But the line between rest and decay is self-awareness. Rest regenerates. Avoidance rots. Be ruthless enough to know the difference. Every habit either strengthens your will or sabotages it. There is no neutral behavior. Every decision trains your brain to repeat it. When you skip the workout, you teach your mind to compromise. When you hit snooze, you instruct your identity that comfort outranks commitment. The neural circuits of weakness strengthen through repetition, just as the circuits of mastery do. You are programming yourself every hour, every choice, every excuse. Weakness is not physical. It's energetic. It leaks through distraction, through complaint, through indecision. Each time you say maybe later, your energy fractures. To reclaim power, seal those leaks. Eliminate the habits that scatter your attention. Close open loops, finish what you start. Completion restores coherence. Coherence is strength. Spiritual science calls this alignment. When thought, emotion, and action move in one direction, energy amplifies. When they conflict, energy dissolves. Weakness, therefore, is misalignment, wanting progress, while worshiping comfort, craving growth while clinging to old identity. To eliminate weakness, synchronize your internal forces. Make your desire and your discipline agree. Attack your excuses like infection. Do not negotiate. Delete the app that eats your hours. End the relationship that drains your focus. Replace mindless scrolling with mindful movement. Replace noise with silence. Replace reaction with intention. Every elimination frees attention, and attention is the currency of creation. Pain will accompany this process. Growth always collects its tax in discomfort. You will grieve your old patterns, your familiar distractions, even your laziness, because they once protected you. But the self that needed protection is gone. You are no longer the person who needs rescue. You are the one who delivers it. In neuroscience, New neural pathways are carved through repetition and emotional intensity. The more vividly you associate weakness with pain, the faster your brain learns to avoid it. The more you associate discipline with empowerment, the faster your brain learns to crave it. Rewire your associations and your behavior follows. Spiritual alchemy says the same thing in different language. Transmute, lead into gold. Turn the dense heaviness of habit into the bright energy of purpose. Every time you choose action over apathy, you refine your frequency. Soon the heavy parts of you doubt, fear. Indulgence cannot exist at your new vibration. They dissolve because they no longer match who you've become. But do not stop at temporary transformation. Weakness adapts. It hides in subtle forms: pride, complacency, entitlement. The moment you think you are beyond it, it returns disguised as comfort. So remain vigilant. Audit yourself weekly. Ask, where am I making excuses again? Then eliminate again. Ruthlessness is not cruelty. It is clarity. Remember, the world respects output, not potential. Potential without discipline is wasted electricity, bright but untamed. Discipline channels that current into power. Strength is not loud. It's quiet precision. Daily consistency promises kept in solitude. When the voice of weakness whispers, "You've done enough," answer, "I'm not finished yet." When it says, "This is too hard," answer, "Then I'm in the right place." When it pleads, "You deserve rest," answer, "I deserve results." Eliminate weakness before it eliminates you. Because if you do not command your habits, they will command your fate. From this moment forward, treat every compromise as a betrayal, every distraction as theft, every delay as surrender. You are the guardian of your own potential. Guard it with precision. Guard it with fire. Weakness is not your inheritance. It is your choice. Choose to destroy it. Choose to rise clean. Chapter 7. Ignite a war within. The only battle worth fighting is the one between who you are and who you could be. Not the war against the world, not against your critics or your circumstances, but against the inertia inside you. The whisper that says, "Good enough." That voice is not a guardian. It is a grave digger. Every time you obey it, a piece of your potential is buried alive. You are at war, not with life, but with the weaker version of yourself, the one who seeks validation instead of victory, comfort instead of conquest. This war will never end because growth has no finish line. The moment you stop advancing, decay begins. Life rewards the relentless, not the content. Each morning you wake, two versions of you rise: the disciplined and the distracted, the builder and the beggar, the one who commands time and the one who is consumed by it. Your day is a duel between them. Every decision is a weapon drawn. The one you feed wins. You cannot negotiate peace with weakness. You cannot reason with apathy. They understand only one language: action. Every time you choose discipline, you strike. Every time you delay, you retreat. The war within is won in microscopic moments: waking when you said you would, finishing what you started, silencing the complaint before it forms. These small acts seem trivial, but compounded over time they forge identity. You must measure yourself against yourself. Comparison to others is a distraction. It gives you either false pride or false despair. The only metric that matters is, did I progress from yesterday? Growth is not an emotion. It is data. Count the pages read, the minutes trained, the words written, the promises kept. Track them not to boast, but to remain awake. You cannot lie to numbers. The human body regenerates cell by cell. Every 7 years, you are almost biologically new. But psychological renewal requires intention. Without conscious effort, your mind repeats outdated code. Self-measurement is the software update. Each evaluation line erases corruption, rewrites pattern, improves performance. Spiritually, this is sacred combat, the cleansing fire that burns illusions of limitation. The ancient mystics called it the inner jihad, not violence, but vigilance. The daily choice to purify, will to master self before circumstance. Modern science calls it neuroplasticity, the ability to rewire your brain through deliberate repetition. Both speak the same truth. Repetition is ritual, and ritual is revolution. Understand that fatigue, fear, and failure are not enemies. They are sparring partners. Pressure strengthens structure. A muscle grows only by tearing. The psyche expands only by enduring. The discomfort you dread is the workshop where resilience is built. Stop labeling pain as punishment. It is training precise personal necessary. You will be tempted to rest on your past achievements, to compare your current strength with yesterday's weakness, and declare victory. That is complacency's trap. Yesterday's best is today's baseline. The moment pride replaces hunger, growth halts. The masters of every discipline share one trait: dissatisfaction. They never arrive. Arrival is illusion. Ascent is eternal. When exhaustion hits, and it will whisper this truth to yourself, fatigue is the tax of greatness. It means you've moved beyond average effort. It means you're shaping something that requires your entire capacity. Rest, but don't retreat. Rest is refueling for the next round, not an excuse to exit the arena. The war within demands ritual. Create one that reminds you daily of your mission, a morning routine that steadies you, an evening reflection that measures you. Ritual transforms chaos into cadence, turning struggle into symphony. The warrior who trains in rhythm cannot be defeated by randomness. And remember, no one will applaud this battle. It happens in silence, unseen, uncelebrated. The world will not cheer your discipline. It will mock it, misunderstand it, call it obsession. Let it. Greatness always looks like madness from the outside. But while others scroll and stall, you are sculpting a life that will one day silence them. This war will never end, and that is its beauty. Each day you fight, you live awake. Each moment you choose discipline, you reclaim sovereignty over self. When you stop fighting, you die in comfort's arms long before your final breath. So sharpen your mind, steady your heart, and face the battlefield of your own becoming. The enemy wears your face, but so does the victor. Win today, then wake and win again. Chapter 8. Legacy over likes. You live in an age where attention feels like oxygen. Every scroll, every heart, every comment feeds the illusion that visibility equals value. But understand this: likes dissolve. Legacy endures. What you create for applause dies when the applause stops. What you build for meaning survives long after your name fades. You are being trained, subtly, relentlessly, to confuse noise for significance, to believe that constant broadcasting is creation. But true impact has never required a stage. It requires substance. Marcus Aurelius wrote his meditations for himself, not for followers, and his words still breathe centuries later. Meanwhile, millions shout into the void each day, desperate to be seen, and vanish by nightfall. Visibility without value is vapor. Legacy is the echo of integrity. It is the residue your actions leave on the world's fabric. Every word, every decision, every sacrifice etches an invisible pattern that outlasts you. The universe keeps a ledger, not of followers, but of frequencies, the energy you emit through what you contribute. Fame fades, frequency remains. Ask yourself, what will remain when the algorithm forgets you? Will people remember your aesthetic or your effect, your highlight reels, or the lives you helped shape? The digital age rewards immediacy, but the soul craves eternity. Choose the latter. Build something that cannot be deleted. This is not a call to abandon technology. It is a call to master it. Use the platforms, but do not let them use you. Post if it serves the mission, not the ego. Every second spent chasing validation is energy stolen from creation. Attention is a currency invested where it compounds. One deep act of contribution carries more energetic weight than 1,000 gestures for show. Legacy is built in the dark. It forms in the hours no one sees, in the consistency no one praises, in the decisions that cost comfort but protect integrity. When you choose discipline over distraction, purpose over popularity, you are laying invisible bricks of immortality. You may not be trending, but you are transcending. Science names this entropy, the gradual decay of all systems toward disorder. Legacy is the only rebellion against entropy. It is energy organized into meaning so strong it resists decay. Every selfless act, every work of truth, every piece of beauty added to the world delays the inevitable fading of human memory. That is not metaphor. It is physics. Energy cannot be destroyed, only transferred. The work you do from integrity becomes energy transferred forward, shaping futures you will never meet. You fear being forgotten, but you forget that everything you do is recorded in the field of cause and effect. The kindness you extend ripples beyond your timeline. The courage you model becomes blueprint for another. That is legacy, not statues, not headlines, but energy handed down through example. Do not mistake loud for lasting. The most powerful forces in the universe are silent gravity, magnetism, time. Be like them. Invisible, consistent, unstoppable. While others scream to be remembered, let your actions whisper through generations. To build legacy, you must sacrifice the addiction to immediacy. This requires patience, the willingness to plant seeds in a soil you may never see bloom. The farmer does not harvest in the same season he sows, yet he sows anyway, knowing the law of cycles will not fail him. So, plant truth, plant skill, plant compassion. Let the world mock your pace. You are building for permanence, not performance. And permanence is born of alignment, when what you do matches what you believe. There will be moments you doubt the value of your quiet work. You'll watch others rise faster, louder, seemingly higher. But remember, fast growth often rots first. Oaks take decades to root. Shallow fame burns out under its own spotlight. Deep purpose glows long after darkness falls. Legacy requires courage, the courage to be misunderstood, unseen, uncelebrated. It asks you to play a longer game than ego can tolerate. But in that patience you earn immortality of essence. The measure of your life will not be how many people noticed, but how many people changed because you existed. The goal is not to go viral, it is to go eternal. Leave something behind that time can't erode, a word, a work, a way of living that lifts the frequency of those who follow. Let others chase applause. You build echoes, because applause ends with the crowd, but echoes live forever. Chapter 9. Harness the physics of momentum. Momentum is not magic, it is math. It is the compounding interest of effort, the physics of persistence translated into progress. Every movement you make, however small, carries energy forward. A single action may seem insignificant, but once set in motion, it obeys the same law that governs the galaxies. A body in motion stays in motion. You often wait for motivation before moving. But motivation is born from motion, not the other way around. The spark you seek is the friction between effort and resistance. Push once, however weakly, and inertia begins to crumble. Push again, and the energy doubles. Action is not a reward for confidence. Action creates confidence. Momentum feeds itself. Think of a snowball rolling downhill. At first, it is fragile, easily broken. But as it moves, it gathers mass speed and unstoppable gravity. The same law rules your growth. At the start, you feel clumsy, unqualified, unseen. Good. Those are the conditions of birth. But as you continue, repetition becomes rhythm. Rhythm becomes mastery. Mastery becomes momentum. Momentum is the universe's confirmation that you are aligned. Every repetition sends a signal into the field. I am serious. The universe, obedient to consistency, amplifies that signal. Opportunities begin to cluster. Coincidences appear less random. Doors unlock that seemed welded shut. This is not superstition. It's resonance. Frequency attracts matching frequency. A life in motion magnetizes movement. From a neuroscientific view, repetition engraves pathways. The brain conserves energy by automating what you repeat. Habits, therefore, are momentum crystallized energy, made efficient. When you repeat action long enough, your brain rewires itself to choose progress over paralysis. The hard thing becomes the normal thing. But beware, momentum is neutral. It will serve whatever you feed it. If you repeatedly choose distraction, procrastination gains mass. If you consistently choose excuses, stagnation accelerates. The same law that propels you forward can also bury you deeper. You are always building momentum. The only question is toward what? Momentum also demands maintenance. It is not a storm that rages without end. It's a current you must keep alive through ritual. Miss one day, and the current slows. Miss a week, and it stops. Miss a month, and inertia rebuilds its walls around you. The easiest day to act is today, because today's motion still carries yesterday's energy. Tomorrow you'll have to start from zero again. Do not underestimate micro-action. 5 focused minutes can ignite an hour of flow. One conversation can rewrite your trajectory. One small victory can recalibrate your chemistry. These aren't poetic exaggerations. They are measurable shifts in dopamine and focus networks in the brain. Momentum doesn't demand grand gestures. It demands continuity. Spiritually, momentum is surrender to rhythm, aligning your daily pulse with the cosmic cadence that moves all creation. The planets spin, the tides rise, the breath expands and contracts, all obeying motion. To stagnate is to step out of harmony with the universe itself. To move is to rejoin the song. When you move, time bends. Days stretch, not because the hours change, but because presence deepens. When you are immersed in consistent action, awareness expands. You feel both the pace and the purpose of your progress. That state, what athletes call flow, what monks call oneness, is momentum, reaching consciousness. If you lose it, don't despair. Momentum forgives. It does not vanish. It waits. Begin again, however small. Consistency resurrects what hesitation buried. The first act restarts the current. Do not wait to feel ready. The act itself will generate the energy you lack. So push, even when you're tired, even when you doubt, even when nothing seems to move fast enough. The universe honors momentum more than it honors intention. Intention is a promise. Motion is proof. Keep moving. Keep refining. Keep advancing 1 millimeter more than you did yesterday. Momentum is your proof of life. Lose it, and you drift. build it, and you ascend. Because nothing is truly impossible, only unattempted, unmoved, unfinished. Move and watch reality rearrange itself around your velocity. If you're still here, thank you for staying present. Hit subscribe not for me, but for the part of you that craves peace and perspective. Chapter 10. The Energy of Focus. Focus is power distilled. In a world addicted to distraction, it is a rare and dangerous form of mastery. The average mind scatters its energy like sunlight, through fog, warm but unfocused. The disciplined mind becomes a laser, silent, precise, unstoppable. What you focus on expands. What you neglect dissolves. This is not philosophy. It is physics. Everything in existence vibrates at a frequency, and your attention is the tuning fork. Wherever you direct it, energy follows. The mystics called it intention. Neuroscience calls it selective attention. Quantum mechanics calls it observation collapsing probability into form. All say the same thing. What you repeatedly attend to becomes your reality. Look closely at your life, and you'll see it mirrors your focus. Chaos outside is often just clutter inside. You think you need more time, but you need fewer leaks. Every notification, every unnecessary conversation, every half-hearted commitment siphons voltage from your purpose. Focus is not about doing more. It's about deleting what does not matter. Imagine your mind as a lens. Every distraction smudges it, scattering light until nothing burns. But a clean lens ignites. Fire is focus refined. That is why rituals matter. They are not superstition. They are calibration. Meditation, journaling, breathwork, morning silence. These are how you polish the lens. When you ritualize focus, you move from reaction to creation. The modern mind mistakes busyness for productivity. But motion without meaning is noise. True focus simplifies. It cuts. It says no more often than yes. It protects mental real estate as fiercely as a warrior guards territory. To focus is to declare dominion over your attention, to say this is sacred ground. Nothing enters without purpose. Biologically, the brain's reticular activating system, RAS, filters millions of stimuli per second, allowing through only what matches your dominant thoughts. This means your inner dialogue literally edits your external world. If you tell yourself you are distracted, your RAS obliges by serving you more noise. If you tell it you are laser locked on a mission, it hunts for alignment. People patterns opportunities that resonate with that command. Your focus instructs reality. Spiritually, focus is devotion. It is prayer without words. Every time you hold your attention steady, you declare faith in what you're building. The longer you sustain that signal, the stronger the field becomes around it. Energy coheres where attention persists. That coherence is creation. Yet focus requires sacrifice. You cannot hold everything and become anything. To choose one path is to bury 100 others. This burial hurts, it feels like loss. But it is transformation. You are not abandoning options. You are consolidating power. Every unfinished project and scattered aim divides your energy. Consolidate it, and your results will multiply. Guard your focus from emotional theft as well. Guilt, gossip, resentment. They are attention parasites, feeding on outrage. Learn the art of emotional minimalism. Don't fight every battle. Don't explain every choice. Don't chase every opinion. Silence is not weakness. It is strategy. Each moment you stay centered while chaos swirls, you strengthen your field. Focus also shapes time. When your attention is fragmented, hours vanish. When it is unified, minutes expand. Flow state, that timeless immersion, is simply undivided attention, merging with action. The artist lost in the brushstroke, the coder deep in syntax, the athlete mid-stride, all are living proof that time bends for those who focus completely. To master focus, create boundaries, like rituals of respect. Set hours when the world cannot reach you. Turn devices into tools, not tyrants. Schedule solitude as fiercely as meetings. The mind, when isolated from noise, begins to hear its own signal again. And remember, focus is finite. It must be replenished. Rest is not a luxury. It is part of focus hygiene. Sleep, movement, breath. They reset the instrument. Even lasers need recalibration. The energy of focus is divine precision, the ability to pierce through the fog of existence and strike the center of truth. When your attention aligns with your intention, creation accelerates. So aim it wisely, feed it discipline, guard it with silence. Because where your focus goes, your entire life follows. Chapter 11. Transcend failure. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is the forge that shapes it. The world teaches you to fear failure, to treat it as a verdict, a stain, a signal that you were not worthy. But the universe has never punished through failure. It has always educated through it. Failure is not a closed door. It is the hammer that tests your steel. Every breakdown you've ever faced was a recalibration, a cosmic correction, forcing you back into alignment with truth. You think you failed because you lacked luck, timing, or support. But more often, failure is feedback that the structure you built was too small for the future trying to emerge. Collapse, then, is creation by other means. In physics, there is a law called stress testing. Every bridge engine or circuit must be pushed to its limits to reveal hidden weakness. Without that stress, it would one day crumble under real weight. Life works the same. Failure applies pressure not to punish, but to prepare. It exposes what must be strengthened before you can carry the magnitude of your destiny. From a neuroscientific view, failure literally rewires you. Each mistake sends signals through new neural pathways, expanding your capacity for adaptability. That is why those who avoid risk also avoid growth. Their brains remain narrow, unchallenged, and fragile. Resilience is biological. Every recovery from failure thickens the wiring of courage. Spiritually, failure is initiation. Every mystic, every master, every awakened soul has descended into the dark before rising again. The fall is not the end, it is the descent necessary for transformation. The caterpillar must dissolve into chaos before it becomes flight. You too must disintegrate the identity that cannot hold your next evolution. Pain is simply the burning of old code. Society trains you to hide failure, to decorate it with excuses or bury it in silence. But the courageous study it. They ask, what is this teaching me about myself? Failure is pure data, unfiltered truth about what works and what doesn't. If you can detach your ego from the outcome, every defeat becomes information. Information becomes strategy. Strategy becomes success. The most dangerous response to failure is shame. Shame convinces you to withdraw, to stop experimenting, to retreat into comfort. But the cure for shame is exposure. Speak your losses aloud. Own them. You strip shame of its power when you make it transparent. Vulnerability is not weakness. It's a declaration that you refuse to hide from your own process. Failure tests not your ability, but your allegiance to comfort or to calling. Every time you fall, you choose which one you serve. Those loyal to comfort quit. Those loyal to calling stand again, bruised but unbroken. It is not the magnitude of your fall that defines you, but the immediacy of your rise. Do not sanitize failure. Feel it fully. Let it bruise your ego, but not your spirit. Pain cleanses the arrogance of certainty, reminding you that mastery demands humility. The world's greatest innovators, Edison, Curie, Musk, Rowling, all wore failure like armor. Each setback made them impermeable to doubt, because they learned that rejection is never personal. It is directional. There is also a law of polarity in the universe. Every negative holds a positive of equal measure. The deeper your failure cuts, the higher your potential ascent. The descent and ascent are one movement, the inhale and exhale of creation. You cannot rise without first contracting. Redefine failure as progress in disguise. Every fall moves you forward if you rise differently than you fell. If you repeat the same mistake, you didn't fail, you refused to learn. True failure only exists when it hardens you instead of humbling you. When defeat comes, don't ask, "Why me?" Ask, "What is this forging?" Every broken plan contains the blueprint for its own repair. Every closed door hides the corridor you were meant to walk. The universe is not against you. It is pruning you, removing branches that cannot bear the fruit you were built for. In the language of energy, failure is feedback from frequency mismatch. When your actions fall out of alignment with your intention, results crumble. Adjust the signal not by giving up, but by tuning back to authenticity. The lesson repeats until the energy matches. So do not run from failure. Study it, thank it, transcend it. Let it polish your endurance until pain becomes purpose and rejection becomes redirection. Because when you stop fearing failure, you become unbreakable. Each scar becomes circuitry. Each lesson becomes armor. Each comeback becomes prophecy. Fall fast, learn faster, rise infinitely. Chapter 12. The Art of Discipline and Ritual. Discipline is the bridge between desire and destiny. Without it, your dreams remain sketches, beautiful, fragile, and powerless. Every vision requires a structure strong enough to hold its weight, and that structure is built from daily discipline. Greatness is never an event. It is ritual, repeated until it rewires reality. The mind craves comfort, but the soul craves order. Order is not rigidity. It is rhythm. It's the sacred choreography between focus and freedom, between effort and ease. The disciplined life is not a prison. It's precision. It channels chaos into creation, the way a riverbank shapes the flow of water. Without that structure, energy floods aimlessly, drowning potential instead of directing it. You must stop waiting for motivation. Motivation is a mood, discipline is a muscle. Mood shifts with weather. Muscle strengthens with repetition. The act of showing up daily, regardless of feeling, is how you command the laws of momentum. When you no longer depend on how you feel to decide what you do, you become unstoppable. Science agrees. The brain's neural pathways strengthen through consistency, not intensity. Each repeated act of focus, waking early, training your body, writing one more paragraph, choosing patience over impulse signals, your nervous system to normalize excellence. The extraordinary becomes automatic. The act of discipline literally reshapes the brain, carving grooves of commitment where hesitation used to live. Spiritually, discipline is devotion in motion. Rituals are how the sacred enters the ordinary. Lighting a candle before work, journaling before dawn, walking in silence. These are not mere habits. They are invitations for alignment. Every repetition calls energy into coherence, transforming effort into ceremony. When you ritualize your discipline, you no longer fight with your willpower. You dance with it. Start small, but be relentless. A 5-minute ritual done every day outweighs an hour of effort done occasionally. The compound effect is merciless. It rewards consistency and punishes drift. Your rituals, no matter how small, are seeds of sovereignty. Each time you follow through on your own command, you prove to your subconscious that your word is law. That self-trust becomes sacred armor. But understand, discipline demands sacrifice. To say yes to focus is to say no to chaos. To say yes to mastery is to say no to mediocrity. The undisciplined chase freedom and find slavery to impulse. The disciplined sacrifice impulse and find freedom from chaos. Paradoxically, discipline is freedom because it removes confusion, indecision, and guilt. Biologically, every decision drains willpower. This is why structure is liberation. When you create rituals, you conserve energy. You eliminate choice fatigue. You no longer waste bandwidth debating whether you'll act. You simply act. The decision was made long before the moment arrived. Discipline is not harshness, it's harmony. It's aligning your physical, mental, and energetic systems to move in unison. When thought, emotion, and action sing the same note, reality vibrates in resonance. You stop chasing results and start attracting them. The ancients practiced ritual not for superstition, but for synchronization, aligning human rhythm with cosmic rhythm. The rising sun was not just dawn, it was renewal. The daily grind was not punishment, it was participation in the divine pattern. You too can turn your routine into reverence. Wake with intention, work with devotion, rest with gratitude. When you stumble, and you will return to your rituals. They are your compass. The disciplined do not avoid failure. They recover faster because they have systems stronger than emotion. The ritual steadies the warrior when chaos returns. And make no mistake, discipline is spiritual warfare. It is how you silence the sirens of distraction and anchor yourself in purpose. Each kept promise becomes proof that you command your own life. So, build your code. Rise at the same hour. Guard your focus like treasure. End your day with reflection. Speak your goals aloud. Repeat until your habits become identity. Because once discipline becomes who you are, not what you do, success stops being effort, it becomes inevitability. Discipline shapes destiny. Ritual shapes reality. Together, they turn intention into law. Stop waiting for the muse. Become the muse. Stop chasing flow. Create it. And let your discipline become the devotion that makes your life divine. Chapter 13. Align with universal law. Everything in existence operates under law. The universe is not chaos. It is precision disguised as mystery. Energy moves through patterns, frequencies, and principles that never break, only bend to consciousness. Once you understand these laws, you stop fighting life and start flowing with it. Power begins where resistance ends. You are not separate from these laws. You are one of them. The same intelligence that governs gravity, light, and motion animates your heartbeat and thoughts. When you act against these forces, chasing outcomes through control, fear, or force, you create friction. When you act with them, you create effortless acceleration. This is not mysticism, it is alignment. The first law is the law of cause and effect. Every action generates a vibration, and every vibration returns multiplied. Nothing you do, think, or feel is ever neutral. Each carries frequency, and frequency seeks resonance. That is why intention matters more than appearance. You cannot deceive the energetic field. Pretend confidence broadcasts confusion. Authentic effort emits clarity. The universe mirrors what you truly are not, what you perform to be. The second is the law of vibration. Everything, thoughts, emotions, materials, vibrates at a certain rate. Gratitude and fear are not feelings alone. They are measurable frequencies. Gratitude expands your field. Fear collapses it. When you cultivate elevated emotion through meditation, movement, or service, you change your energetic signature. Like tuning an instrument, you harmonize with outcomes of similar vibration. Abundance cannot enter a frequency of scarcity. The third is the law of correspondence. As within, so without. Your inner world is the seed. Your external world is the bloom. The chaos you see around you is a reflection of the disorder within. When you organize your thoughts, align your emotions, and act from clarity, reality follows. This is not metaphor, it's mechanics. Consciousness is the blueprint matter, the manifestation. The fourth is the law of rhythm. All things rise and fall, expand and contract, inhale and exhale. The universe breathes through you. The tide that pulls you backward today is the same force that will propel you forward tomorrow. When you resist these seasons, you suffer. When you dance with them, you gain mastery. The wise do not curse winter. They use it to sharpen tools for spring. The fifth is the law of polarity. Everything contains its opposite light within dark success, within failure strength, within weakness. Duality is not division, it's design. The presence of one creates the potential for the other. To evolve, you must learn to hold paradox joy and sorrow chaos and calm without collapsing into either. Polarity refines perception. When you see both sides, you rise above them. Science confirms what spirit has always known. Reality is frequency responding to focus. Observation changes outcome. The particles of your life arrange themselves according to the signal you emit. Thoughts are electromagnetic. They broadcast intention into the quantum field. The stronger your coherence, the faster reality synchronizes. This is the physics of manifestation, stripped of mysticism. But alignment is not passive wishing. It is active participation. It requires emotional congruence, your thoughts, feelings, and actions singing the same note. Think of it as tuning three strings, mind, body, and energy. When one string vibrates, off-key dissonance appears as friction, delay, confusion, resistance. Tune them and life hums. To align with universal law, practice stillness. The noise of the modern world distorts your frequency. Silence resets it. Meditation is not escape. It is calibration. In that stillness you can feel when something is off, that subtle disharmony between intention and intuition. Correct it, and momentum returns. Then act. The universe respects velocity. Once you're in alignment, move. Every small act is a signal proof that you trust the current. As you move, synchronicities appear, people timing ideas. They are not coincidences. They are confirmations that the law is responding. Most people manifest chaos because they oscillate between faith and fear, belief and doubt. They start aligned, then sabotage with hesitation. The field cannot amplify a split signal. To master the law, you must become singular in focus, consistent in vibration, and disciplined in motion. Understand this: the universe is neutral. It does not reward goodness or punish error. It reflects coherence. The law is the same for saints and sinners, dreamers and doubters. Alignment is access, not approval. Anyone can attune, few are willing to maintain the vibration. When you learn to live in harmony with these laws, struggle dissolves into strategy. Life stops feeling random and starts feeling responsive. You move from victim to vessel, from control to co-creation. You are not at the mercy of the universe. You are the universe expressing itself as you. Align with its rhythm. Obey its laws. Then watch as what once felt impossible begins to move toward you effortlessly, inevitably, precisely on time. Chapter 14. Reinvent through service. At some point, every journey of ambition must evolve into a journey of contribution. Achievement without service collapses under its own gravity. It consumes instead of creates. Real power begins the moment you stop asking, "What can I get?" and start asking, "What can I give?" Service is not self-erasure. It is self-expansion. When you give from alignment, not obligation, you multiply your own energy. The universe operates on circulation, breath in, breath out. Tide rise, tide fall, give, receive. What you refuse to give stagnates, and what stagnates decays. Energy must move to remain alive. The paradox of service is that it strengthens the giver as much as the receiver. Neuroscience shows that acts of generosity release serotonin, oxytocin, and dopamine chemicals that elevate mood, boost immunity, and expand empathy. Spirit calls this resonance the frequencies of compassion and gratitude, harmonizing with abundance. What you pour into others does not drain you. It creates space for more light to flow through you. To reinvent through service, begin where you are. You don't need a stage, a charity, or a fortune. You need awareness. Every conversation is a chance to uplift. Every skill you've earned can become someone else's lifeline. Your presence itself can be medicine if you bring it with intention. Purpose is discovered, not invented, and it reveals itself fastest when you serve. Until you move beyond self-obsession, your vision remains small. The moment you turn outward, clarity floods inward. That's the hidden law. Meaning finds those who create it for others. Think of energy like water. A cup that holds too tightly grows stagnant, but a river that flows nourishes miles. When you give from overflow, not depletion, your river widens, but service born from guilt or martyrdom contaminates the current. True service is not about sacrifice. It's about circulation, giving as a natural extension of wholeness. The world trains you to compete, but competition contracts energy. Contribution expands it. The more you help others rise, the more the frequency around you elevates, and in that elevation, you rise effortlessly. This is the economy of energy. What you amplify multiplies. When you build something that benefits others, the universe invests in your endurance. Service also dissolves ego, the greatest barrier to evolution. Ego demands recognition. Service seeks resonance. Ego wants to be somebody. Service wants to become something greater than the self. When you serve from pure intent, you dissolve the illusion of separation, the false border between me and them. You realize that lifting another is the most efficient way to lift yourself. In practical form, reinvention through service means aligning your craft with contribution. If you are an artist, let your art heal or awaken. If you are a teacher, teach not just information, but transformation. If you are an entrepreneur, build systems that empower, not exploit. Every role can be transmuted into service if anchored in integrity. Spiritually, this is karma in motion, the recognition that every ripple returns to its source. What you give from authenticity circles back as expansion. The universe has no shortage. It mirrors circulation. To hoard is to fear. To share is to trust abundance. But service demands discernment. Giving your energy to everything is the same as giving it to nothing. Boundaries protect your ability to contribute sustainably. You are not meant to be drained. You are meant to be directed. The sun does not dim for those who refuse its warmth. It continues to shine for those who are ready to receive. Reinvention happens when your actions outgrow your old motives. You move from survival to stewardship, from chasing success to channeling significance. When that shift occurs, fatigue turns into fulfillment. Work becomes worship. The mundane becomes meaningful. You will notice something profound. The more you serve, the less you fear. Fear thrives in isolation. Service connects you to something infinite: humanity, creation, God, whatever word you choose. And in that connection, your small self dissolves, replaced by purpose, too vast for fear to survive. When you die, the world will not remember how many things you owned. It will remember how many hearts you touched, how many lights you helped ignite. Legacy is not about being remembered. It's about ensuring remembrance itself continues, that the chain of courage, compassion, and creation never breaks. So reinvent yourself through service. Let every act, however small, become an offering. Give your time. Give your craft. Give your presence. Give what only you can. Because the ultimate evolution is not becoming powerful. It's becoming useful. And through that usefulness, you become infinite. Chapter 15. Become the source. There comes a point when you stop seeking and start radiating. The final stage of transformation is not accumulation, but embodiment. You no longer chase energy, inspiration, or validation. You generate them. You become the source you once searched for. You began this journey believing power was something to find in books, mentors, or miracles. But what you were really searching for was permission. You wanted someone to tell you that you could, that you were enough, that the gate was open. It always was. The universe was waiting for you to remember that you were never a visitor here. You were a participant in creation itself. The external world is not your master. It's your mirror. The people who inspire you, the events that trigger you, the dreams that call you all, are reflections of your own potential energy, beckoning to be expressed. When you realize this, you stop asking life for answers and start listening for instructions. The guidance has always been internal. Science calls it energy coherence, the heart and mind aligning into resonance. Spirit calls it divine union. In that state, you no longer react to circumstances. You generate them. Like a star, you begin to emit rather than absorb. The universe doesn't give you power. It responds to the frequency of your being. You are the transmitter. To become the source, you must release the need to control outcomes. Control is scarcity disguised as discipline. Creation, on the other hand, is trust disciplined into form. The gardener doesn't tug the seed to make it grow. He tends to the soil and allows the law to do the rest. The same law governs your evolution. When you tend to your vibration, your thoughts, your emotions, your rituals, the results manifest inevitably, effortlessly, precisely on time. At this stage, gratitude becomes your default frequency. Not because everything is perfect, but because you've understood perfection was never the goal. Presence was. Gratitude is not reaction, it is recognition. You begin to see beauty in repetition, meaning in hardship, harmony in contradiction. The ordinary becomes sacred because you perceive it from abundance, not lack. You no longer ask, how can I get more? But how can I give more through what I already am? When your focus shifts from consumption to contribution, energy floods back to you. The universe replenishes what flows freely. This is the quantum loop of abundance, giving as receiving, expansion through circulation. Understand, becoming the source does not mean isolation. It means overflow. You don't detach from the world, you feed it. Your presence becomes a stabilizing frequency. The calm in chaos, the clarity in confusion, the light in dark rooms. People will feel it before they understand it. You will no longer need to convince. You will simply be. The ego will resist this stage. It thrives on separation, on needing to be more, better, different. But mastery is quiet. It has nothing to prove, because it has nothing to fear. You'll notice your voice softens, your choices sharpen, and your energy becomes selective. The same fire that once fought the world now warms it. To become the source is to live as cause, not effect. To stop reacting to energy and start commanding it. You no longer wait for opportunities. You generate them through clarity and conviction. You no longer hope for alignment. You are alignment. Every thought you think, every breath you take becomes creative code imprinted on reality. This is not arrogance. It is responsibility. To realize you are a creator is to understand that your energy shapes worlds, starting with your own. You can no longer indulge in negativity without consequence. Every complaint lowers your field. Every act of gratitude strengthens it. You start to live consciously aware that every word you speak is a spell, every belief a design, every action a seed. The source is not somewhere out there. It is the pulse beating within you. The more you trust it, the more life reorganizes around your resonance. You'll witness synchronicities multiplying, doors opening with effortless timing, ideas arriving fully formed. This is not luck, it's law. When your internal state matches your desired reality, the universe has no choice but to respond. And in this realization, peace replaces pursuit. You stop chasing enlightenment and start expressing it. You stop looking for signs and start being one. You no longer pray for light. You remember you are made of it. So stand still, breathe deeply, and feel the current within your chest. That pulse is the heartbeat of the universe echoing through your form. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the ocean in a drop. The force you sought has always been you. You have spent this book learning to begin to persist, to align, to transcend. But now you understand the final truth. You were never building power. You were remembering it. Become the source. Radiate without permission. Create without condition. And watch as the world rearranges itself around the frequency of your becoming. Conclusion: the return to origin. You began this journey believing transformation was somewhere ahead, a mountain, to climb, a version of yourself waiting at the summit. But the final truth is simpler and far more profound. You were never climbing toward power. You were circling back to it. Every chapter, every failure, every rise was not about becoming someone new. It was about remembering who you already are. The greatest illusion is separation. The idea that you and the universe are two, that you must earn worthiness, prove value, win validation. But you were born of the same substance that spins galaxies and folds light. You are not a guest in this universe. You are an expression of it. When you act with courage, the cosmos expands through you. When you align with truth, reality bends to meet you. There are no ordinary moments. The breath you take now connects you to every star that has ever burned. The iron in your blood was forged in stellar fire. The energy that moves through your mind is ancient. It remembers creation itself. You are not small. You are concentrated infinity, wearing a human name. But remembering this does not excuse inaction. It demands devotion. Power without purpose is chaos. Awareness without application is waste. The purpose of realization is not escape, but embodiment. To bring heaven down into the everyday, through your words, your work, your relationships, your presence. Enlightenment is not departure from the world. It's deeper participation in it. The world does not need more seekers of light. It needs transmitters of it. People who live with such coherence, such integrity, that their energy becomes instruction. You cannot save the world through preaching. You save it by presence. The way you show up, the choices you make, the love you extend, these are your sermons. When the noise of doubt returns, and it will remember doubt is not the enemy. It is the echo of an old frequency fading away. Each time you act in faith, the signal strengthens. Each time you trust your inner law, reality reorganizes around your vibration. That is the promise of alignment, not ease, but evidence. You will still fall. You will still forget. That is part of the rhythm. But every time you rise again with awareness, you collapse lifetimes of limitation. Evolution is not a straight line. It's a spiral. You will revisit the same lessons, but from higher ground. The scenery repeats, but the vantage point changes. That is, progress, subtle, silent, sovereign. So, what now? Now you live the code. Start where you are again. Use what you have again. Do what you can again. But this time do it as one who knows you are not starting from lack. You are starting from light. The universe does not test you. It mirrors you. When you move, it moves. When you commit, it conspires. The cycle completes here, from seeking to self, from doubt, to knowing, from waiting for signs to becoming one. When people ask, what changed? You smile gently. Tell them the truth. I stopped looking for the fire. I realized I was it. And with that, you will no longer chase momentum. You will emanate it. You will no longer ask for permission. You will define it. You will no longer fear the unknown. You will create within it. Because you have remembered, you are the cause. You are the field. You are the source. And the journey, though complete, has only just begun. If something you heard today shifted your perspective, help it reach one more person who's ready for change. And if you want to keep growing with us, subscribe. This space will be here when you need it.